Good morning. It is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, back here for Daily Shakeup number 940. And today I want to talk about, well, we all know about this issue. It's about the ways that email communication gets in our way, creates havoc, breaks trust, breaks relationships. And much of that is preventable by two simple things. One, obviously, less email, more conversation. Pick up the phone and talk to someone. Get on a Zoom call so you can actually see them. Or if you're in the same area, get in front of them eyeball to eyeball. That's the preferred method of communication. That's how we build trust and minimize the breaking of trust. That's how we build relationships, build connection, enhance and facilitate working together in better ways going forward. So, yes, less email, more conversations. But if we're going to use email, we all need to start to understand ourselves and embrace the beauty and the power of the email pause. The email pause. And what that means is that's the pause. There's two forms. One is the form before you even start the email. And I'm talking about those situations where you get an email and let's face it, it triggers you in some way. And there's some part of you that it's almost in your body, not even your head, immediately wants to respond. Not just because you're moving on, but there's something that triggered something emotional in you. You had a reaction to it in some way. And so we jump in and start firing away the email because we didn't pause and maybe reread the email. Think about context. Consider picking up the phone and talking to someone, getting on a Zoom with them. If they're in the same office, going down the hall and talking to them. So there's that reaction to write the email. We didn't pause. The second email pause comes after we've written it, to go back and reread the email, to maybe step away from the computer before we reread it, to certainly take some breaths before we send it. I've often asked people, what percentage of the emails would they send the same? First of all, would they send it? And also the exact same words and everything else if they had taken a break and came back to it an hour later, a couple hours later, or maybe even the next day. And the numbers I typically hear is only about 20% or less would go the way they were written. 20%. That means 80% of the time we're sending emails that we either shouldn't send or shouldn't send that way because we forgot about the email pause. Now, the email pause is an outcome, right? We have to slow things down enough. A lot of this is about just pausing ourselves. I've talked before about the leader pause, about taking some breaths, about noticing that we're in reactionary mode. If I'm in reactionary mode, that's never the time to communicate. Never. You heard me. Never when I am in that reactive state, when I've gotten triggered, even in a small way. And yet we do it because we're moving so quickly. And part of leadership is getting present, slowing things down, because by slowing things down, we speed things up. Because the things that slow us down the most are the breakages in communication, breakages in relationship, breakages in trust. So let's look at email differently. First of all, less email, more conversations. And if you're going to do email, notice when you're reacting, notice when you're triggered, notice when you need the pause before you write it and absolutely before you send it. That's it. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you back here tomorrow.